Welcome, everyone, to ITD Gaming Appetizers. Do you like Lord of the Rings? And do you have $2 billion? Well, you could own the rights to make Lord of the Ring video games and movies, if you have those rights. Basically, they are auctioning off the property to studios this week, the current holders of the Tolkien's Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit titles. They're basically auctioning off the properties to anybody that has $2 billion. I don't know how they call that an auction, but maybe that's the lowest bid is $2 billion. Warner Brothers still does have some of the licensing for what they have put out, the movies they put out, and then the new, they have the rights to those. And I think Amazon, is coming out with a television series not too long called Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, that's coming out in September this year. Like I said, Warner Brothers still holds some of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy films, so they own all those rights, and that means they own those worlds that they built. But basically, you're buying the rights to create your own story based off Tolkien's books. I believe Zantz Company is the current holder of the property, and they're trying to license it off. So who do we think is going to buy this? You may $2 billion. So basically, you have to ask yourself this. Star Wars sold for what? Was it 40 billion? I think it's $40 billion. So is Tolkien big as Star Wars? I mean, I would think it should be right up there, but maybe it's not. There's plenty of Tolkien fans out there for Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit series, but yeah, it may not be as big as Star Wars franchise. $2 billion seems like a small drop in the bucket when you compare to that. Any of you guys got $2 billion you want to invest? We can each go in like third on this, and we can buy the gaming rights and just sit on it. Or maybe we'll license it out to EA, Shane's favorite company.
All right, shit, Jack.
For us. Nick, what do you think about this, man? Do you think it's worth a buy? I know you're the least television watching person in the group of us here. So what do you think?
Yeah, but I do love Lord of the Rings. I mean, I think it's worth a company to possibly come in and, especially one that wants to make games based off of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series and the Hobbit series. And, but they have to, like you were saying, Warner Brothers has created this landscape and this area that they've made games based off of. So whoever buys this has to create something new out of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series. So that would be cool. We have that Gollum game coming out soon that looks kind of weird, but it would be nice to see someone bid for this, a really good developer to get the rights to these. Hopefully not EA. I could see EA swooping in like, ooh, we could make something or just destroy this, the property and trash it like we always do. But
Lord of the Rings Battlefront.
Battlefront, yeah. Yeah, Battlefront, and it'll be horrible. I don't know who I would want to come in and, what would be, and it's almost like this already, but I mean, what would be cool to see them come in is like From Software, the makers of Dark Souls and stuff, to make a Lord of the Rings type Dark Souls game that's kind of like that, but Lord of the Rings specific. I think that would be cool, but
you're a terrible person.
I know.
You're getting raked over the coals by ring rates over and over and over.
You can't have the ring. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know who would be a good fit for this property. I'm trying to think of like what developer would be a good fit for this, and I can't really think of one besides them, because their games kind of they're not in that atmosphere in that place, but their games remind me of something like that that would fit into it, right? The way that they make detailed landscapes and architecture and stuff in their Dark Souls and coming soon Elden Ring games. But yeah, I don't know. What about you, Shane? What do you think? Who do you think would be awesome with this property?
Nintendo. No, they just need something. So, honestly,
Mario and the Lord of the Rings.
Why not? They did it with the rabbits.
Mario and Frodo's Adventures.
The Adventures of Hobbits in the Mario world.
Yeah, they're looking for Luigi. This time it's Luigi's missing.
The Tolkien world must retain two key elements: amazing story and big worlds. Now, I'm not talking Assassin's Creed. Just make it bigger for the freaking sake of it, Ubisoft. the scale of the world has to be Tolkienized. It has to be wonderful. And, when you see something, you go, man, I remember seeing that when I read the book. So whoever gets it needs to be able to do that. EA can't do it. They have amazing developers, but EA steps in and just foobars it all. So EA is automatically out. Ubisoft is automatically out because they will just NFT the hell out of it, and you won't be able to take a step without triggering a trap that says, "Ooh, buy this NFT, and we'll let you play some more." I think a smaller developer could do a great job. Maybe start with something on a lower end scale. Make a Frodo Learns to Walk kind of game. Something that introduces the world of,
Sesame
it.
Street to grab
Exactly.
Counting with Frodo. How many ring rates do you count?
Something on a small scale. So I think as a smaller developer, I would like to see be able to do that. But $2 billion is not a small scale price. And Pat, by the way, Star Wars was 4.7 billion, 4.5 billion.
Why was I thinking 40 for some reason?
4.05, excuse me. So that's still a chunk of change that none of us can grasp. So, well, that doesn't mean crap then. 2 billion, 4 billion. I ain't going to have either one ever. I don't know who I would really like to see own it. Shadows of Mordor was fantastic. Nick, I believe you were a huge fan of that one too.
Yeah, it's a good game.
And
that's Warner Brothers and Monolith, which already own the property for
exactly. But that's what I'm getting at. That world you knew when you opened it up, and you knew that was Tolkien world. I would love to see a good RPG maker own it. Obsidian would be fantastic, I think, to do that. I don't think I want Microsoft owning it, but I think a developer like Obsidian would be fantastic to do that. So I don't know. I don't think I could pick anybody to own it, in my opinion. It's one of those things. I would rather see it be licensed out for this company to make and let them people, build that. And if they screw it up, if they EA, take that shit back. You don't get to touch my toys no more. Because Tolkien is just like Star Wars. You don't want certain people playing with it. But Tolkien is even more, because Tolkien is a story that's beyond Star Wars. In my opinion, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, that's all amazing writing, amazing stories. And I love Star Wars, but they don't compete with Lord of the Rings. They just don't, as far as story goes. So I pick me to own it. I will. I'm going to start a GoFundMe. Any donation will work. $1, $1 billion. I will take anything. And then I will license that game out that to anybody that I feel wants to develop it. So, Nick, you can go ahead and send the first check to me. Pat, you follow right up with them, and let's get this thing cooking. So, what about you, Pat? Is what do you want to see? How do you want to see it handled, or by who?
I mean, Lord of the Rings has always been about story. That's exactly why they've been out there. I mean, the games that came out, there was the strategy game that EA published a long time ago, and then the one that you guys were just talking about, the Shadows of Mordor, Shadows of War, and the Shadows of Mordor. Those were good games. I liked them. Warner Brothers just published them, so I mean, and like I said, Monolith was a developer. Depending on the game, and I mean, there's also the MMO that's out there that looks dated and is very dated. It looks pretty old.
I forgot that thing existed.
Right. Every now and then it pops back up into my feed. I'm like, oh, how's that look? And I'm like, oh, it still looks like it's from 1991. So I don't get back into it. But it'd be good if somebody bought it. That just depends on the kind of game you're going to make, right? If you're making a story-based RPG, I'm going to have to go BioWare. I mean, unfortunately, even though EA still owns them, I mean, we might be able to get a good story out of them. We'll just never get a complete game. It won't work from the word get-go. So great story, but game won't work. I mean, you could also have Bethesda thrown in there if you want to do like a party-based game. Can you imagine Baldur's Gate, Lord of the Rings style Baldur's Gate, party going on.
That'd be pretty cool, I would think.
Yeah. So, there's so many out there that could do it. But yeah, I'd hate for somebody like Ubisoft to get a hold of it because we're going to get Assassin's Creed, Lord of the Rings. You're Frodo who likes to climb on buildings and climb high things. And be like, I don't remember any of that. Well, they'll make you Smeagol. Smeagol likes to climb the tower and go all of the places. You sneak around in Smeagol and put the ring on so you can stealth around.
You could be Perry and Pippin just around stealing food all day.
So, there's so many ways you could go with the Lord of the Ring games. And like I said, there have been ways. There's been the RTS. There's been the different types of action adventure games and then MMO games. And from what I understand, Warner Brothers held the licensing, but they're basically losing it because they're not doing anything with it. And the original license holder is basically getting it back because of that. So what kind of deal is that, right? I'm going to license this to you. You can keep using it, but if you go X number of months or years or whatever without putting anything out, we're going to retain the rights back. So Warner Brothers could still be interested. I don't know if they have stuff they want to develop in their pipeline. So they may be the ones picking it back up for $2 billion. I don't think they've done half bad job with it. I mean, the movies were great. The Peter Jackson movies were great. The Hobbit trilogies were great. I liked them. So, I mean, they've done great with the series, with the rights so far. So, and their games have been pretty good. So maybe they should pick it back up. I don't know if they want to pick it back up for $2 billion or not, but.
Well, the Shadows of Mordor sold just under 3 million copies, and that's not bad. I don't know what production cost of that thing was and, what kind of profits they made, but nobody gave that game a bad review, if I remember correctly. So they just need to do something with it because Monolith did a great job. I think it's sad that they have that. Like I said, they're just sitting on it. They've got it keistered. They don't want to do nothing with it.
Yeah, the depending on I mean, I can't remember this Lorien or what is it? The Baldur's Gate 3. They're making Baldur's Gate 3. That company there, that made Divinity 1 and 2. That company could possibly do a really cool Lord of the Rings game in that style of RPG that they make, those tactical RPGs. Right now, they're knee deep in Baldur's Gate 3, so they don't really have the time. But if they weren't doing something, they could possibly. I mean, we don't know how Baldur's Gate 3 is going to turn out, but I mean, it is early access, and it seems to have pretty good early access reviews so far. But I could see that company possibly making something cool with the property.
What about?
We don't want them to do anything, right? Because that game's gonna be stuck in early access for the end of time. Because it came out in October or something.
I think a company like Sucker
Baldur's
Punch
Gate
could do that.
No, Baldur's Gate 3's been in early access for over a year now, right?
It went into early access October 6th of 2020.
Yeah, so over a year now. And it's still in early access. I'm sorry, but your early access should be like months, not years. And
yeah, but that's just the way the market goes. I mean, we just played an early access
and
game.
And they're selling it for $60.
Yeah, for early access. That's crappy for an early access game. Early access should be, especially if you're going to do something dumb like this for over a year, it's half off or something dumb like that. But, for Lord of the Rings, like I said, Warner Brothers has done great with it. Maybe they'll pick it back up. I guess we'll find out here in a few days or whenever the auction is, because it keep calling it an auction. They're going to be auctioning off the properties this week sometime. This week is actually over. So are they talking next week? So I don't know. This just came out a day ago yesterday. So yesterday, Thursday, the 10th is when they announced all this. So, I mean, what are we going to see? Who's going to buy it? All we can do is wait and see, and hopefully they have great plans for it. I mean, I'm interested in watching the series coming out on Amazon for it. I mean, if obviously Peter Jackson's not directing it or anything like that, but if the world that's already built for it is any key indicator, it's got a lot of rich story to tell from and a lot of lore to build from. So I'm definitely interested to see who picks it back up for the gaming rights and for the movie and television rights as well.
I'm not too excited for the Rings of Power. It just didn't register with me, but I'll give it a try, definitely. But I was trying to say earlier, I think Sucker Punch would also be an interesting choice to make a game for in the Lord of the Rings world. I mean, they've got good storytelling. They've got really great world building. I think that would be kind of a cool thing. Granted, it's they're a Sony's developer, but I think it would be pretty cool. I don't want to see Sony own it. That's for sure. I don't want to see.
So
I don't want to see anybody.
You want a Lord of the
own it.
Rings, Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, man, just imagine you're playing as Merry or Pippin or Frodo or even freaking Bilbo Baggins. Just stealth
You're
killing
Gandalf,
race,
and you can stab people with your staff.
Kill
Don't
that
you tease me?
Balrog.
Don't you
Kill
tease
that
me?
Balrog. Fight him.
You
Yeah,
shall
and then
not pass.
And then at the very end of the
Like-
game, you find out you could have just summoned a big ass bird to fly you all the way there to begin with.
Or you can it was the Clerks 2. He makes the kid puke talking about the crappy movie where it's just 3 movies of walking and then they throw the ring in the fire.
Doot, doot, doot.
First movie, second movie, third movie, and so yeah. I mean, I enjoy the movies and everything, so I'm not harping on them. I just think that's a funny reference because it's a lot of walking and then they fly in one. So
That's true.
all right, cool. But that's a different series. That's a different movie, right? I mean, that's the Hobbit series. There was no eagles for them to use in the Lord of the Rings series. So,
No,
Yeah,
Eagles.
but
Gandalf
they all-
didn't learn about eagles and shit until way later.
except for that's technically before the Hobbit is before the Lord of the Rings
Before Lord
adventures.
of the Rings, yeah. So he didn't.
They all
learn-
went extinct. All the eagles they're rare now, and
Yes, exactly.
Oh, didn't Gandalf get off the tower with an eagle?
he had the
Yeah.
moth or butterfly go get the eagles for him.
Right.
So they're rare though. They couldn't get enough to carry.
And
he
I
couldn't
think
get
they were
enough
in
to
the
carry
war,
the-
weren't they? In the
Yeah.
Return of the King, I believe, too. So.
Yeah, he just couldn't get enough to carry the entire.
There wasn't
the Lord-
one free to
He
carry.
couldn't-
to
he
carry
couldn't get
Frodo
one
to
big
the
enough to
mountain.
to carry the party. They couldn't
Yeah.
carry all the party. They're used to carrying hobbits. They couldn't carry the full size men. The Riders of
Samwise
Gondor.
was getting a little chunky. They didn't have a bird strong enough.
Right.
Too many potatoes.
Too many potatoes, potatoes. All right. Anybody else got anything else or any other studios they'd like to see pick this up? I mean, the only problem with gaming studios is they specialize in games. Warner Brothers is kind of one of those weird little things where they have a lot of hands in pockets so they can make some games and movies. So it'd have to be one of those publishing arms that has access to a game studio, that makes good games. Because what we'll end up getting is the Matrix Online again or something dumb like that if we get the wrong studio behind it.
Rare would be another good one, I think. I think Rare could do something with it.
Sea of
Maybe.
Thieves, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, God.
Sea of Rings.
crossover.
Sea of Hobbits.
Sea of Hobbits. They couldn't swim.
Now there's just floating hobbits everywhere. All right. Well, let us know what you think. Who do you think should pick this up? Do you think a game studio would be a good choice to pick up the rights to movies and games, or do you think there's another publishing arm out there that should pick it up, like Warner Brothers, or maybe Warner Brothers should pick it back up? Let us know what you think. There's plenty of Token fans out there, so don't hate on us. We all love Token, even though we poke fun at it. We love it. So let us know what you think. And don't forget, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell for notifications so you can stay up to date on all the videos we pump out every week. We hope you enjoy this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.